into it straight away. So, what was life like before you started?
Probably frustrating. I think would be the word I would use to describe it, because I think I was frustrated at I had a lot of things I wanted to do, but I didn't feel able to do them or confident enough to do them. And I would be spending or wasting a lot of my time sitting watching YouTube, watching people go and climbing mountains and doing things that I thought were really cool, and sitting thinking to myself, I'll never be able to do that. So that was kind of where I was at. So mentally, it was quite tough. And then, as I say, physically, I didn't have the confidence in my physical ability to do a lot of the things that I thought looked really interesting and really cool. So, yeah.
And did you like try? Was there anything you tried? Like, did you try going to the gym or going hiking and stuff before?
So I'd been hiking and really enjoyed it, and that was probably what kind of prompted me or made me think, actually, no, I really enjoy this. I really like being in the outdoors. I like going exploring new places. But what was happening was I was trying to do like really challenging hikes, or I go up a mountain and things, and ending up injured. Like, so quite a lot of the time I would be on the way back down from the mountain and one of my knees would be like giving up, and then I would be spending a week hobbling about after and thinking, overdone it. And so that was kind of making me doubt if I was physically able to do the things that I wanted to do. But it didn't stop me from enjoying it. So I would still push on and I would still do it, but not as often probably as I wanted to. So so that was. But in terms of going to the gym, I'd done like HIIT classes and stuff in the past. So at one point I was like doing that 3 times a week, but it wasn't helping me with what I was wanting to do. So it probably, it probably wasn't the right solution to what I was trying to do. Like, it certainly from a energy point of view and mood, I did feel a bit better when I was doing that, but it wasn't really hitting the mark for me, I suppose.
And why? So bringing it back to when you're watching YouTube and you're consuming that content, like why hiking, or why the outdoors?
Because it's really accessible. It's like it's easy. Easy is maybe not the right word, but it's everywhere. Like, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to go for a hike or go for a walk, and actually, the reward and what you get back out of it, the sense of achievement is really high. So yeah, you can spend a fortune kit and stuff if you want to, but you don't have to. And from a mental health point of view, it's great because you've got time to clear your head and clear your mind, and just if there's a lot of stuff going on, you've got time to think about that and process that as well. So that's, for me, why hiking was really good. And it was just exploring the country, like seeing places in Scotland that I've never seen, never been, take for granted, stuff that's on your doorstep. And it was, really good way of exploring that more, I think.
Had you always been in the outdoors before, or was it like stuck indoors over COVID and you just get a new obsession? Or?
Yeah, probably. It's funny because I grew up in a kind of rural kind of area, and I lived in quite a rural area, so it was that was just how it was. And then I moved to a city, and it's probably living in the city for as long as I have now that I realise how much I actually miss not being in such a busy place and around loads of people all the time. So I've come to appreciate what I had before, which I took for granted when I was younger, like, because it was there everywhere. So I think it's probably getting back to that attracts me to being in the outdoors. Just having space and time to yourself, and being able to connect with people as well. Because what I find, folk that are into like hiking and walking tend to be pretty sound as well. Like,
Usually.
Usually.
Can't say everyone, but yeah.
No, most of them.
So then you were, obviously we started talking on Instagram. I think you followed me or I followed you, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then
it was I don't know if it was like a sponsored post or something you must have done that I saw.
Right.
And it was just, it kind of, I don't know, I can't remember what you said, but it kind of got my interest in terms of like, you were helping people that liked outdoors to be, you know, able to go on those adventures and stuff like that. And so, you know, I followed you based on that. And obviously we started talking after that, but it was just a chance thing that you see, you know, oh, that looks interesting. Me sitting watching YouTube and like sitting on my backside being lazy. I thought I'd like to do that, but I had no idea how. Nice. So,
and it was that self belief component, or was it like, because it sounds like you were like because you had already gone hiking, but you were kind of being held back, and I suppose this is you're like, I've always thought you're like perfect client avatar, like, do you know what I mean? Because you want to go on outdoors, but there's maybe something holding you back. And I think for a lot of other people and people watching this, will maybe it's not a knee, but like a sore knee, but it could be multiple different things, and sometimes it's just that like they don't know how to go about it. Do you know what I mean? But it's
and that was a big bit of it, part of it for me as well. It was like I knew myself that I wasn't eating as well as I could do, and you know, I knew that I needed to start looking after myself better as well. But there's so much shite online. Like if you go and start Googling like what you should be eating and what you should be doing, you'll get multiple different conflicting stories and people telling you different things. But it was a bit of a realization that, well, actually, here's somebody that is offering coaching to sort of help people that want to be in the outdoors. So it's within my grasp to go and do something about it then. So, and rather than trying to Google it for myself, actually get some advice on what is the right thing to do and, you know, what I should be focusing on. So there was a bit of, well, I need to try something, because I wasn't happy with the way things were. So I thought, well, it's only me that can change that. So that was kind of the trigger point, I suppose, that made me start thinking about doing something about it.
Yeah. It's the right attitude to have as well. Been like, I need help and I need direction, but it's the end of the day, and at the end of the day, it's just me. I think a lot of people sign up to PT and then they realise, oh fuck, I actually have to. They get that realization where it's like signing up is maybe the hardest bit, but it's just the initial. You're just opening the door. It's you that has to go through, or whatever analogy you want to use.
Yeah, and that was something that kind of became clear to me quite quickly. Like, because I suppose in my head, like, I had no idea when I first started speaking to you. I had no idea what is it you were going to do or what you were going to suggest to me to help. But I thought, I need to trust in whatever advice you give me. And so that first conversation, and when we sort of went through what the program would look like and stuff, I was like, shit, there's quite a bit of work for me to do here. But if I'm going to make anything of this, I need to put in the work. So you can't sort of sugarcoat it and say it's not going to be hard work, because you need to. But quite quickly, the sort of reward and the result comes. Yeah. Certainly, I found that. Just, I think within a couple of weeks, I was feeling a million times better. So, there's no quick fix, but there's definitely support, and that's the difference between support and somebody doing it for you. Like, nobody's going to do it for you, but folk will support you through it. That's the difference, I think.
I was talking with someone last night about how was my girlfriend. If I say someone, she watches this, she'll be like, I'm just someone. we were talking about, she's a pharmacist, right? So she was talking about all of the different jabs and like medical like tablets and stuff you can get to basically help you lose weight or to force you to lose weight.
Yeah.
And she was like the amount of people who, like famous people as well, who are like people who aren't even overweight who are doing these things. And I was like, it's so sad because they're avoiding all of that hard work that you're talking about, and they're never going to have those long-term benefits of like having self-belief and knowing that they can do things, and the confidence, discipline, and even just having a strong, resilient body, because they've just not done the hard work. That it's just unavoidable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally know what you mean. Like, to digress, I know somebody that I think, in terms of their life supply isn't great. Like, they don't really look after themselves, and they're now paying for one of those weight loss injections. I'm thinking, but yeah, it might have a short-term effect, and you might lose weight, but actually you're not going to be any healthier, and I don't think you're going to feel better, and you're not going to get that sense of achievement of having worked for something and done it. It kind of blows my mind a little bit that it's available and people are allowed to do that, because I don't know, it feels like it's gonna. Yeah,
it's definitely a good tool to have for some people, but try and do it yourself first. Like,
I think it's kind of a lot. There's obviously a place for it, and it's there'll be medical need for it, and a bit of a last resort, I think. But I think there's probably easier ways, but simpler ways to help yourself. But
definitely. So let's go back to, you signed up, and then what was that? So you talk about like when you first signed up and you started going. Talk us through that first 2 weeks, because you said that it was like quite a quick turnaround and feeling good. Like, talk us through that initial kind of month of being on the program.
First, so I guess the first thing is, obviously you got me to do some like assessments in terms of like movement assessments and things, just to see what I could and couldn't do and things like that. And I think the first session was like a home session kind of thing, just to sort of get used to it. And then I remember the first time going into the gym and sort of doing weights and things, feeling pretty nervous and pretty intimidated, I suppose. Maybe not intimidated.
Out of your comfort zone.
Completely out of my comfort zone. And I remember there was one, I think it was either the first or second week, I went in, gym was absolutely mobbed. I couldn't get on any of the equipment that I needed to get onto, and I had a bit of a strop and kind of got in the car and went home, and then trying to like finish it at home. And I felt that I was really, afterwards, I was really annoyed at myself that I'd done that. And I said, no, this is like, you need to push through this and get past this. And you said something early on around, nobody's watching you, nobody's looking at you, like, nobody else cares what you're doing, they're all focused on themselves. And I've kept that with me ever since. So when you've got me doing dragonflies and things like that, I'm thinking nobody's watching. Maybe are, but in my head they're not watching me. So
mate, even I wouldn't, for context for anyone watching, dragonfly is an exercise where you bring your legs up really high and then you use your abs to bring them down. And Alan was doing them in the middle of the gym on one of the benches, and I thought, I wouldn't even do that. So it's like, fair play. The transformation is...
but that was like a key piece of advice you gave me early on that I've held on to, because this isn't about anybody else, this is about me, and me sort of growing in terms of my abilities and my journey. So everybody else is there focusing on themselves and what they are doing, and it's a good way to think about it. So, and I say so that was probably within the first week, and then I think after the end of the second week, because I think the first week you had me just sticking to what I normally do in terms of nutrition and things like that, but I think by day 2 you'd sent my text saying, right, maybe change your breakfast. So, and it was small things, small changes that all kind of built up. And by the end of the second week, I could feel the benefit of the changes to what I was eating, and obviously just moving more. Like my energy levels were starting to go up, and just becoming a bit more confident in being in the gym, and it would just become a bit of a habit. So, it was obviously some wobbles, I think, at the beginning, but just thinking about it as well as an investment, like, because obviously you're paying for coaching, and I remember you saying before, like, sometimes clients don't do what you've sort of asked them to do and early on and things like that. I was the opposite. I was like, I was going to follow what you were saying to the letter, because you know what you're talking about, and I'm investing in sort of coaching to help me achieve a goal. So for me, it was really important to take on board what you were saying and follow the program that you were setting out as well. Yeah. That was a really important learning, I think, for the first couple of weeks.
It's being coachable is like exactly what you're saying. There's a great way to explain that, and it is like, you'll know this working and like people working in different jobs. Like if you're like just being coachable, yeah. So if I'm the same as you. Like if you're spending money on something, it's like just go through it. I think the difficulty with fitness is like so many people, because there's so much free information online, and everyone's been to the gym and they've tried different sports, and maybe their friend's a personal trainer, so you've got all these bits of information, but it's the way in which you do everything and implement things, and there's a reason, there's a method to the madness sort of thing. But it's definitely just been me and my PT friends talk about that, like just the ability to be coachable, and no matter what you're doing, like if you go on a climbing course or anything that you're doing in life, trying to be coachable, because like going in with like no ego. That's what I liked about yourself, like no ego, just do things and then report back, and if they don't work, that's fine. We have a piece of information that we can change how we're doing things.
No, and I can relate to that, like from the job I do as well. It's like, we do like sort of management development, leadership development and stuff, and I always like say to my boss about it, it's like you're pushing against an open door with some people, whereas with other folk the door's shut. They don't want to know. So my job's so much easier when the door's open, or the door is, you can push it open, and they're not doing it just because they have to. And what I think the difference with coaching, or certainly personal training, is I made the decision to invest in this. So for me, the responsibility is to take on board what advice I'm being given and act on it. There's no, like, I'd be wasting your time if I came to you and said I want to be coached and then not do any of the program that
you're wasting your own money as well.
Exactly. So, I think that's, for me, that being able to establish that in my mind early on was really important.
Nice. And what was the biggest thing that, like in the early days, and then even through until now, what's like the biggest thing that was like a surprise? Because I think for a lot of people, particularly with like personal training for outdoor people, I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, you're going to be, is it like outside? Am I training? Am I doing squats in the forest? And there's a lot of things. Like, what was the biggest surprise with that, or anything else?
Maybe it sounds daft, but one was that that running was a key part of it. Like, I never expected, I expected probably to be going to the gym and maybe lifting weights and stuff, but I never actually expected to be running. It was and in hindsight it makes complete sense, but before I hadn't even thought about that. That was surprising. Obviously the nutrition was, because I thought I ate okay, but actually when I looked back I didn't, so that was a surprise as well.
So you never, with the running, do you like, just to be, not everyone needs to run, by the way, just in case someone's watching this like, no, I'm going to run at some point. But yeah, I think you took to running really well. Do you know what I mean? That's the reason why we prolonged it, but kept doing it.
Yeah, because it surprised me how much I enjoyed it. I think that's probably what it was, because like the last time I ran was at school and hated it. The forced cross country run that we used to have to do once a year, like nah. But actually, running for a reason and having a goal in mind was completely different, and then just really, ended up enjoying it.
Nice. It's obviously you found benefit in it for like your mental health, like just for like being able to get out your head and just get. It's a good reason. It's a good way to get outside. I think that's for me personally. Like one of the things I love about running is you just get to see loads of stuff really quick. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you're on holiday or something, you get to see a whole city in like an hour.
Exactly, and it's been a great way of, like, when I've been away with work. Last year I was like all over the place with work, like in countries I'd never been to before. So I would get up at 6 a.m. and just go running from the hotel room. So like I've been all around Rotterdam, I've been around Belgium and like Ireland and stuff, and it's great. Like, you know, you're in a new city or a new place, and it's just, you get to see loads, as you say, you're getting to see the place. And at 6 a.m, there's nobody going about. You've got the place to yourself as well. So
I mean, you're starting that day on a bit of a high, like knowing that you probably had a good breakfast, you've got up early, and you've went to run. You're like ticked all these boxes in your own head.
Yeah, 100%. And then you're like, I feel like I'm so much better on days that I do that. Yeah. So yeah,
nice.
And that was good.
And what's been like, again, just thinking more generally throughout the year that you've been doing coaching, like what's been the biggest challenge?
In terms of coaching or just challenge in general? Just
challenge, just to do with training, with sticking to the program, sticking to just anything really.
It's not like, it hasn't been difficult for me to stick to the program. Where I've found challenge, I suppose, is maybe where I've got something nailed down. So for example, nutrition. I had nutrition nailed down, and then from that, maybe I became a bit complacent. So then I started adding back in some things that I would have done before that I'd stopped. So, for example, like I used to eat sandwiches for my lunch every day, but stopped doing that, and then that kind of crept back in. But the difference this time round is because my energy levels and I feel so much better, that one small change had an instant impact, and I was able to identify what that impact was and fix it. So it's probably coming to the realization or getting into the mindset of you don't fix something and then go back to the way it was. You fix something and then you keep it and stay like that. Yeah. Ongoing. It becomes that's the way of life now.
Yeah. It's not a part-time course, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not you do coaching for 3 months to fix what you eat and fix your exercise, and then you stop and you go back to how you were before. Because that's a waste of time. It's you change, and it's a sustainable change, and it's a lifelong change. That's the learning. So while there's challenges there, actually the learning is huge. It's a complete change of mindset when it comes to looking after yourself and nutrition and exercise and moving, for me anyway.
And I think that's such a good point, that I think that's where a lot of people go wrong with, not necessarily coaching, but with diets and workouts, and everything is nowadays is so short term. It's like do loads and loads of work to lose loads of weight, get a six pack, go on holiday, and then like you go back to normal after that. And it's like, why not just make that, like if you approach things from less of an extreme point of view. And I suppose that's the good thing about not working with client. Like, not all my clients want to be in a photo shoot before they go on holiday or something like that. But it's more thinking about like longevity and how can you change your behaviour for good, for long term. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, because again, one of the surprising things for me was the changes that were made to my nutrition and what I was eating wasn't it wasn't just like you can only eat salads and you're going to be starving all the time, and I was actually eating more food than I was before, but better food. And because I used to be starving all the time, like, and I was constantly eating, constantly snacking. I was never fat, but I was skinny fat. So I always had it in my head, if you eat healthy, you're going to be hungry, which is the complete opposite of what I found. What I found is you're eating well and you eat the right things at the right times. You're not starving. You feel better. You feel like, and the food is better, tastes better, because I'm not eating so much processed food. I find now food tastes like it's got more of a taste and things like that. So that was a huge surprise to me, that eating healthy doesn't necessarily mean eating boring, bland food that's got no taste.
And being starving all the time.
Yeah, like, because when you hear of people, oh, they're on a diet and they're miserable, and well, what kind of diet is that?
Like, on the wrong diet.
Exactly. So, like, that was a huge surprise to me, that you can eat well and enjoy it at the same time. And that's not marketing bullshit. It's actually real.
Yeah. Would you say that, like, that side of things was not as hard as what you thought it was?
100%. Like, it's so much easier to eat healthy than I ever thought it would be. Like, and just having a healthy breakfast and a decent breakfast for me made such a difference. Like, and I find that mentally I'm much better during the day at work and things like that, because of that. But yeah, and still having a steak and all that kind of, like, a nice food, and a beer, like, exactly. So, you're not having a beer every day, but you can still, that 80-20 rule, that if you do the right things 80% of the time, 20% of the time you can have that indulgence, I suppose.
Definitely. And what would you say, again, over the course of the year, what would you say is your biggest win?
This sounds cheesy, but there've been so many. Like, but for me, mental health is, like, but physically, like, my physical health is much better, but my mental health and how I feel about myself has been the biggest change. Just confident in my ability and able to go and try things that I wouldn't have had the confidence to try. It's like going on that winter mountaineering course that I did. I wouldn't have even contemplated that before. And it's just going, following the program and that constant sort of challenge to push a bit further and do a bit more. Because when you sometimes, like, early on, when I saw some of the sort of exercises that were going to, like, I won't manage that, I won't be able to do that. It's like, but you can, like, you surprise yourself at what you can do, and you just start off at the level you can do, and then you just push it and gradually push it and grow and develop. And it's that, for me, from a mental health point of view, has been huge. It's like I'm more confident, happier, as well, and just energy levels. I feel like I can do more as well. So yeah, that's a long-winded answer, but
that's good. Better to be long-winded rather than just saying, I don't know, squats or. So this next question is kind of the same question, but sometimes it isn't. But what would you say? Like, what are you most proud of yourself for over the last year?
I think being consistent and, like, no matter what's going on, I've always sort of found a way to make sure that I stick to the training and stick to the program, because I understand how important consistency is. Because there are days, you know, when you're stressed or there's stuff going on, you think, oh, I could just skip it today and I'll go tomorrow or whatever it is. But actually, knowing myself, knowing if I did that, one day leads to then skip it another day, and then before you know it, it's, you know, things fall by the wayside. So I think I'm really proud of myself in terms of sticking to the program and being consistent, and then the results that's brought for me. I think I'm proud of what I've been able to kind of change things up, and in my mind in a really short space of time.
Nice.
You know, because I wasn't sure what to expect in terms of what I'd be able to do and what I'd be able to achieve. But actually, I've surprised myself, I think.
Nice.
So I'm proud of it all.
Nice. Is that good? What I was thinking about there, or what popped in my head when you were talking, was when things do go wrong, like thinking about, as long as you are consistent. Again, you could call it 80-20 rule or loads of different things, but if you fuck up or you fall off track or you eat bread and feel like shit for a week, like it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's just a drop in the water.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a drop. Drop in the water, drop in the ocean. Do you know what I mean? Because the whole year you've made so much progress. If you've got so much room for failure, I think that's one of the things people don't. People like myself catastrophize small things, whereas like take a zoom, and I think that's why having a coach is good, because your emotion and that failure and guilt and stuff, I don't have it, so I'm looking at it from a different perspective, and it's
do you know
what I mean?
Exactly. And so there's been times where, like, I've had an injury in the last year, and I honestly, when that happened, I was like, oh, that's it, everything's fucked. Like, that's it. Might as well just stop. Can't train anymore.
Chris, that's me. I'm done.
It was like, honestly, that in the moment when it happened, I was so annoyed at myself. And then let you know about it, and you're like, it's cool. We can work around it. We'll do X, Y, and Z to rest it, and within 2 weeks, it was forgotten about, and it was done, and it was past.
Yeah.
So I think I'm not going to say I haven't had failures in the last year. Of course I have, and I've failed at things. I haven't been able to, do everything that I've wanted to do. But what I've started to do is learn from them. So that was a great example. Like, I got injured and immediately catastrophized about that injury. But I've learned actually now, things like that will happen, but we'll get around it and we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
There will be lifts that I'll make a mess of, but it's not going to derail the whole thing. I will figure out what was going wrong and go back and improve on it and change it. So it's we'll get around it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, honestly, see the catastrophizing injuries and pain, that I think that probably ruined several years of my life. It's everyone does it. Do you know what I mean? But it's like you said, within 2 weeks, you might not even be thinking about it. It's, do you know what I mean? So it's not worth. The body's an adaptation machine. It wants to get better. Just let it. Don't let your brain, like, I don't know what they call it, like monkey brain, like, tell your noisy brain to shut up. Just go do another exercise.
Do something different. Yeah.
What time is it? Okay, I've got a few questions here. I need to got about 20 minutes or something. At what point? And this one's for, obviously for yourself, but for someone watching who's, because not everyone, like, you had quite a smooth, like, obviously there were failures and you bottled it and went home from the gym to finish the workout and stuff like that. And everyone, like, gyms are scary places, especially if you're not, if you're, like, for you just now, you're one of the probably the most comfortable person in the gym, because it's you're so used to it. For someone on day one, like, that emotion's crazy. Do you know what I mean? But like what again? What I was saying was that you had quite a smooth, like everything went really well, and I think that's what made the injury a little bit worse. Was you were like, "Fuck," do you know what I mean? Like, what's
Yeah.
happening? But at what point throughout the year did things start really like clicking? And was it early on, or was it like towards the end of the year? Or
I think it was early on, like within a couple of months. I think, because maybe a couple of months after I started like going on some serious hikes again, and the difference I noticed in doing that, like I enjoyed it so much more because I just felt more physically able, and it was just I think within a couple of months I was more comfortable in the gym. Kind of felt like I knew what I was doing and I could see progress. Like actually, I could visibly see a bit of progress within a couple of months, which wasn't my ultimate goal. Like my goal wasn't sort of like an aesthetic thing, but actually I was standing looking at myself in the mirror and I was like, oh, my beer belly's going away and things like that. And you start to see things like that, and just when the energy levels started going up, because I think it was, I can't remember when it was, but it was within a couple of months. I think I said to you in my check-in, like my energy levels were just through the roof, and I'd never felt that good before.
Yeah, it's like taking drugs, isn't it? You get out of bed with energy. It's
amazing. And it was just, I think that was when I realised this is really working. Like, yeah.
So that was after like a few months.
I think so. Yeah.
And tell me about the hikes. Like, what was that like when you were noticing a difference on the hikes?
So I would always be huffing and puffing going up like that initial ascent, or if you were going up some steep, and I would always like it. If there were a few of us, I would always be the last one, like trailing behind. But now I'm usually in front, and it's it just feels easier, and I'm not like not out of breath or anything like that, and
nice.
You just enjoy it much more. And you're able to focus on what you're actually doing rather than
trying to survive.
trying to stay alive.
That does wonders for your confidence as well, like being at the front when you're used to being at the back. Not in a cocky way, but a deep sense of like knowing that you can do that, and without like I doubt that you were the type of person to be like, I'm going to be at front because I'm the best. You just happen to be fitter, or you just happen to be faster, or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean?
As you say, it's not like consciously that I need to be at the front. It's just like, no, I'm the pace I'm going at. I'm
quicker. Sees it at
all. And it's, I say, it just feels more comfortable. It feels easier, all over. So.
And is that like everything that we're talking about here? Is that like seeped into life outside of like the outdoors or outside of the gym?
Yeah. So, I found myself more confident just in like work settings as well. So, just in terms of feeling better, that kind of self-esteem, self-confidence part is better. So, I challenge back, like at work. If something's not right, sometimes before I wouldn't have said anything. I'd just let it slide. But now I'm much more likely to kind of challenge things that aren't right, and I have more courage in my convictions, I suppose, because I'm more confident. And it's hard to describe, but it just confidence all over is better.
Yeah. Nice, awesome. You're the wido in work now. Just kidding.
It's maybe a good thing.
But that's a good one. Like that's the next thing to move on to. Like, how do you compare to? And maybe we've already answered this, but like from before the gym or before you started coaching to now, like how do you see yourself now compared to? And I don't mean like looking back to the person you were back then, but before the course when you would look at yourself compared to now when you look at yourself, like what difference is there?
Just definitely somebody that's more confident, and I'm more, I think, the right way of putting it, I know more what I want
Okay.
out of life as well.
Okay.
Like I was just kind of drifting along before, but now I know what I'm passionate about. So like we've been outside and hiking and things like that, and that's really, I kind of thought that's what I wanted before, but now I know, and I've, and I know that I'm capable of it, of doing the things that I want to do.
Nice.
I'm much more focused on that now, and it's clearer. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. What I want out of life is clearer to me now. Definitely.
Wow. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you know what I mean? Like understanding what you want.
Yeah.
Before, and like I suppose the thing before holding you back would have been like you don't know if that's for you because you don't know if you can do it. But now you're like,
I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah.
Aye. Now I know I can.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a bit of an exaggeration, but I think you could pretty much do anything if you put the time and the effort into learning how to do it and then practicing it. I think you can pretty much. You might never be the best at it, but you'll be able to do it. And that was something that I wouldn't have believed before, but I do now.
And having that attitude, you wouldn't have had that attitude before, but like being able to look at life and go, I can, like what you said just there was basically, I can do anything I put my mind to. And that's like, that's a cool way to approach life. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, but I wouldn't have believed it unless I'd actually done it.
Nice. So 10 minutes, just less than 10 minutes, last two questions. What would you say to someone who's about to start or is just starting just now?
Trust that the program that you're being given is right for you in terms of you need to follow it. So don't be thinking that you know better, because you're investing in coaching because you recognise that you need the advice or the help from somebody that knows what they're talking about. So for me, it's about trusting that, but also communicating. Where if something's not working or it's not right, you need to, let yourself know, and then it can be changed and sort of sorted. But I think we touched on it earlier on. Like, it's all very well signing up, but the responsibility is on me to sort of follow the program and do the work that's there, because nobody's going to do it for you. And it's hard work at times, but it's not as hard as you think it might be. And some of the changes are actually, for me, like certainly like nutrition wise, like it was a bonus, like getting to eat more than I was eating before. I was like that's good, but just trusting like what you're being asked to do is I think the biggest thing, the biggest piece of advice. And I'm not saying don't question it, but I don't think as long as you're sort of given the sort of right information and stuff, like, and letting you know if things, what's working and what's not, and absolutely take videos of your lift as well.
Yeah, that's essential. Nice. And last one, what piece of advice would you give your past self?
Get off your arse and start watching YouTube.
Alan sitting watching YouTube. If you could sit down, if you could be on YouTube talking to him.
Aye, get off your arse. Like literally, that is it. Like, stop sitting dreaming or getting frustrated about what you think you can't do. Go and give it a go and do something about it. Like, like, as much as I'm like really pleased with where I've got to, there is part of me that wishes I'd done this 10 years ago. So, but hey, I am where I am now, and I'm making progress. So that's the main thing. But get off your arse and just get move on. That would be the
straight to the point. No time. Yeah. Tough love. Sometimes people need tough love.
Exactly.
Nice. Exactly. Cool. Well, that's us, Alan. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Much appreciated.
Okay.
Cool. I'll probably just cut it there. Nice, mate.
Okay.
That was fucking
All
brilliant.
right.
45 minutes. So
Was
drinking
it?
that time.